Good afternoon, children. Good afternoon, student. Now today we will see the bacteriology part of this bacteria and one of the most important bacteria, which is Streptococcus. As previous lecture you have seen that Staphylococcus. Now today we will see about the Streptococcus and its family. Now what is the learning object? At the end of these lectures, you will learn about the morphology and antigenic properties of Streptococci, classification of Streptococci, pathogenesis and clinical features of Streptococci, appropriate laboratory diagnosis and interpretation of the test results, and prevention and treatment for streptococcal infection. Now, first we will see the Streptococcus and other Streptococci in the next slides. Now see what is Streptococcus. Streptococcus, the general features of this Streptococcus are they are the gram-positive cocci, as it is the same like a Staphylococci. Staphylococci is also gram-positive cocci, but here the arrangement of the cocci, which is different from Staphylococci. The gram-positive cocci is in a pair or in a chain. So in contrast to Staphylococci, the gram-positive Staphylococci, they are arranged in a cluster. It's a grape-like cluster arrangement. And here in the Streptococcus, they are arranged in a chain. And one test which differentiates the Streptococcus from the Staphylococci family, which is catalase test. So in the case of Staphylococci, the catalase test is positive, and in case of Streptococcus, the catalase test is negative. What is the history about this Streptococci? As Billroth scientist coined the term Streptococci, means streptos means twisted or coiled, and Oxton differentiated them from the Staphylococci. Then another scientist, Rosenbach, coined the species of the Streptococcus pyogen. So this Streptococcus pyogen are the species of the Streptococcaceae family. Now we will see the classification of the Streptococci. The classification of the Streptococci, which includes as according to their hemolytic property, then according to different biochemical property. We will see one by one Streptococci. First we will see the Streptococcus pyogenes. Now this is the structure of the cell wall of the Streptococcus pyogenes. Here you can see the innermost part of the cell is the cytoplasmic membrane, and outer of this cytoplasmic membrane there are three layers. That is one which is the innermost layer, which is known as peptidoglycan layer. The secondmost layer, which is known as group specific carbohydrate layer, and third, which is the outermost layer, which is known as which is made up of protein and lipoteichoic acids. So the Streptococci family, which is classified as per their carbohydrate property, that is the Lancefield classification, and also the another classification which is in the Streptococcus pyogen according to their protein properties, like M, T and R protein, which is responsible for the Griffith classification. We will see in the subsequent slides. So this is the antigens of the Streptococcus, virulence property and antigens of the Streptococcus pyogen. Here there is a streptolysin, two hemolysin is most important. One is streptolysin O and one is streptolysin S. This streptolysin O means oxygen labile and heat labile, and S is stand for the oxygen stable and serum soluble. Now these are the differentiating point, because this streptolysin O, which is used for the variety of the serological test for the diagnosis of the rheumatic arthritis, rheumatic fever. So here there is a streptolysin O is most important for the diagnostic purpose. The streptolysin O, which produces the hemolysis only in the deep colony. It means because they are the oxygen labile, so on exposure to the oxygen, they are not able to produce colony on the blood agar. So if we go for the Pourplet method, the colony will be appeared just below the surface of the agar. And in contrast to streptolysin S producing colony, they are found on the surface of the blood agar because they are the oxygen stable. So they are able to stay longer time on the agar because they are oxygen stable. Now the streptolysin O, it has a cytotoxic for the neutrophil, platelets and cardiac tissue, and S is they have a leukocidal activity. Streptolysin O, which is strongly antigenic, that's why we are using in the serological test. And streptolysin S, which is a not antigenic and it's a soluble in the serum, so it is not used for the serological test, ASO test. The anti-streptolysin O antibody, which is a serological test, which is used for the diagnosis of the streptococcal infection. And in S, it is not useful for the diagnosis of streptococcal infection. So these are the hemolysin which is produced by the streptococcal pyogens. One is streptolysin O, which is structure and functionally, which is similar to the titnolysin of the Clostridium tetani, pneumolysin of the Streptococci pneumoniae, theta toxin of the Clostridium perfringens, listeriolysin O of the Listeria, cereolysin of the Bacillus cereus. So this streptolysin O, which having a similar by structurally and functionally to other lysins of the bacteria. Now this is the streptococcal pyrogenic exotoxin. One we have seen is here streptolysin, hemolysin. This is the another virulence and toxin which is produced by the streptococci. It causes the scarlet fever, necrotizing fasciitis, streptococcal toxic shock syndrome. So the antigenic subtype which is responsible for this SPE A, B and C. SPE A and C are the bacteriophage coded and they are known as a superantigen. As we know that the superantigen means they are not stimulate our immune system, they directly the numbers of cytogenic markers which is released into the circulation, tumor necrosis factor, interferons, interleukin which are released into the circulation, and all multi-organ failure which is found in the toxic shock syndrome. So that's why they are the super antigen. They bypass the normal immunological mechanism for the antigenic presenting cells. So SPA and C, which is the bacteriophage coded. Now SPEB, which is a chromosomally mediated. In previously, there is a DIC test which is used for the diagnosis of the scarlet fever, and it is not used nowadays. And it's another name for this DIC test is it's a erythrogenic toxins. Because if it is given intradermally to any susceptible children, it produces the local erythema. So erythema-like reaction is there. That's why it is known as a erythrogenic toxin, and indicating the person is susceptible to the scarlet fever. But now it is previously used. Nowadays it is not used. Another virulence factors are enzymes. The enzymes which is very much helpful to streptococci for the further spreading of the disease, like streptokinase A. This fibrinolysin, they activate the plasminogen and convert the plasmin, breaks down the fibrin barrier and the further spreading of the infection. So they are basically helps for the spreading. Antibodies to this streptokinase, which is used for the retrospective diagnosis of streptococcal infection. Now the therapeutic use of this streptokinase is in a MI, the myocardial infarction, and other thromboembolic condition, because they lyse this thrombus which is formed inside the vessels. Another enzyme which is streptodornase. It is also known as DNase. The streptodornase liquefying the thick pus, and it is responsible for the serous nature of the streptococcal exudates. So whenever there is a pus formation is there, but here in the case of streptococcal infection, the pus which is formed, which is very thin in nature, it is the serous type of pus which is produced because of this streptodornase. The subtype B, which is the most antigenic, And this anti-streptococcus DNS B antibodies, which is used for the retrospective diagnosis of the skin infection. And it is basically used for the diagnosis of acute glomerulonephritic condition, where there is a ASO titer is low. So it is very much useful to differentiate the acute glomerulonephritis or rheumatic fever. Because in case of the rheumatic fever, the ASO titer will be high, but in case of acute glomerulonephritis, the ASO titer is low. Another enzymes are hyaluronidase, which break down the hyaluronic acid of the tissues, which helps for the spreading of infection. Then NADase, antigenic and leukotoxic activity. Then serum opacity factor. They have a lipoprotein. They are also known as lipoproteinase. Opacity, which is applied on the agar with gel-containing serum, they produce the round halo surrounding the colonies. The SPY-CEP, it is a serine protease, inactivates the interleukin 8. C5a peptidase, serine protease, which cleaves the C5a, which is a complement factor. This is the suppurative and non-suppurative manifestation of the streptococci pyogen. These all are the skin and soft tissue infection basically. So which is produced by the streptococci, like it also affects the respiratory system, in which they produce the pharyngitis, pneumonia, empyema, then scarlet fever, skin and soft tissue infection, which includes the impetigo, cellulitis, erysipelas, then deep soft tissue infection, which includes the necrotizing fasciitis, streptococcal myositis, TSS, toxic shock syndrome, and bacteremia, which leads to the toxic shock syndrome, osteomyelitis, and meningitis. These all are the suppurative condition where there is a pus formation is there. Now non-suppurative condition which is found in case of streptococcal infection is acute rheumatic fever, acute glomerulonephritis, then gutted psoriasis, reactive arthritis. Then one is PANDAS, means pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric disorder associated with the streptococcal infection. This is some brief about this suppurative streptococcal infection. Pharyngitis, which is the most common cause, which is found in the children. Erythema and swelling of the pharyngeal mucosa with purulent exudate. Complication due to this continuous spread through the blood and lymph. The scarlet fever, which is produced by this streptococcal pyrogenic exotoxin A, B, and C. It also produces rash with sandpaper in fill, the rash in the skin fold, and strawberry tongue. This is the picture which showing the impetigo, the skin and soft tissue infection. This is a superficial infection of the skin over the face and the legs. Children, tropical climates, poor hygienic condition, overcrowding, colonization of this streptococcal A is most common. Painless, it is a painless and no fever. You can here see the reddish papules which is then form into the vesicles and pus producing lesions. And thin papery it is appeared. Lastly, it is a honeycomb crust like lesions. This is the erysipelas. It is a form of a cellulitis. You can see the skin is very reddish and inflamed and tender. So it is a bright red and swollen and indurated. Sometimes superficial blabs or bullae may be formed. Here the patient is also suffering with fevers and chills, and the malar area, which is the most commonly affected for this erysipelas, recurrence involving the same sites. These are the pictures showing the just gas gangrene like pictures, but it's a necrotizing fasciitis. It's a hemolytic streptococcal gangrene, and it is a most common cause of this flash. It is also, that's why it is known as a flash-eating bacteria. So sometimes we have to differentiate this flash-eating bacteria streptococci from the gas gangrene producing Clostridium welchi or Clostridium perfringens, which is also producing the same gas gangrene like conditions. The source of infection is like trauma and the GIT breach. Invasion of the fascia, superficial layer of the skin and the muscles. The picture which showing the dusky skin, motor and erythema and anesthetize extensive necrosis of the subcutaneous tissue and the fascia. This is the acute rheumatic fever. These others are the non-suppurative condition like acute rheumatic fever, post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis, gutted psoriasis, and pandas. You see, here there is some antigenic structure of the streptococcal cell containing, so they are very much similar to that of the mammalian antigen. So this streptococcal antigen, which is structurally and antigenically, they are very similar to this mammalian antigen. That's why sometimes there is a cross reaction which occurs in case of ASO test. Like the streptococcal cell wall M protein, which is very similar structurally by the myocardial cells of the mammalian. Then cell wall C carbohydrate. So C carbohydrate means they are very similar structurally by the cardiac walls. So cytoplasmic membrane antigen, which is very similar to glomerulovascular intima. Then peptidoglycan layer of the streptococcal, which is the innermost layer of the streptococcal antigen, which is very similar to skin antigen of the mammals. Hyaluronic acid, hyaluronidase, which is produced by the streptococci, which is very similar to the synovial fluid of the knee joint. This is the acute rheumatic fever. So every time the patient is complaining of previous streptococcal pharyngitis. So some streptococcal species like 1, 3, 5, they are the very much prone to produce the pharyngeal infection first. Then the sequelae of this pharyngeal infection, which leads to the acute rheumatic fever-like condition, which involving the heart and heart valves. So pathogenesis is basically there is an autoimmune theory. The antibody which is cross-react. So one theory is that, as we have seen earlier slide, like some antigenic similarity between the streptococcal antigen and the myocardium. So here the antibody which is produced against the streptococci streptococcal C carbohydrate cell wall, which is very similar to the cardiac valve of the mammalian heart. So antibody which is cross-react with this mammalian heart valves. So here it is a one theory for the ARF, and another theory is cytotoxic theory. It is due to the pure streptococcal infection. The clinical manifestation of this streptococcal infection which affects the heart, joints and skin. So there is one criteria which is known as a modified Jones criteria. We will see in a later slide. So in this repeated attack, which is common in case of acute rheumatic fever, so we have to take a long-term penicillin prophylaxis at least up to 21 years of the age. So clinical investigation which is used for this ARF condition is ASO test. So this is the Jones criteria, which is nowadays it is revised by the criteria. The major manifestation is mainly the subcutaneous nodules, pancarditis, arthritis, migrating polyarthritis, chorea, CNS manifestation and erythema migratum. And minor manifestation of clinically fever, arthralgia, in the laboratory the elevated ESR and C-reactive protein, and in the ECG findings the prolonged PR intervals. Supporting evidence of these Jones criteria like elevated ASO titer, a positive throat culture or rapid antigen test for this gas, or recent scarlet fever. This rheumatic fever is diagnosed if two major manifestation as mentioned earlier, or one major and two minor manifestation plus evidence of the previous streptococcal infection. So then and then it is a proven case of acute rheumatic fever. So in the revised Jones criteria, two major or one major and two minor conditions should be fulfilled along with the previous history of the pharyngeal infection. Now streptococcal, this non-suppurative, another condition is post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis. So here there is previously there is some skin infection is there. 2 to 3 weeks following pyoderma, this acute glomerulonephritis may be takes place in the body. The M type which is responsible for this PSGN is 4953 to 55, 59 to 61. These all are the different strains of the streptococci as per their M protein. And rarely the pharyngitis producing strain like M type 1 and 12. So antigen-antibody complex deposition on the glomerular basement membrane. As we seen earlier that this glomerular basement membrane, which is very much similar to this cytoplasmic membrane of the streptococcal antigen. So here there is a cytoplasmic membrane of this streptococci, which is antibody which is produced against this cytoplasmic membrane, which may be cross-react with the glomerular vascular intima. So this antigen-antibody complex along with this complement that can be deposited and in the glomerular basement membrane. And what will happen, there is some pores which is formed in the basement membrane. So urine retention, renal insufficiency, then edema, hypertension, hematuria and the proteinuria. These all the sequelae of this PSGN infection. So this is the differentiating point between the acute rheumatic fever and PSGN. So in the acute rheumatic fever, the prior history of pharyngitis which must be there, like the pharyngeal strain like 1 and 12 which may be involved, and in case of PSGN mainly pyoderma, which is the previous history of this pyodermal infection. Serotype most commonly which is included, as I said earlier, like 1 and 12, and this pyodermal strain 49, 53 to 55, pharyngeal, some strain, pharyngeal strain which is also include. Immune response which is marked in case of ARF, moderate in PSGN. Complement level may be unaltered, but here there is a PSGN, there is a complement which is deposited along with this antigen-antibody complex. Then genetic susceptibility which is present in ARF, which is absent in PSGN. Repeated attack in ARF which is the most common. So that's why the patient have to take this penicillin prophylaxis for a longer term. And PSGN, their repeated attack is uncommon. Course is progressive in case of ARF, but in case of PSGN, spontaneous resolution may be there. Prognosis is variable, either it may be good or poor prognosis, but in case of PSGN, always there is a good prognosis. The hypersensitivity reaction which may play a role in the case of ARF is type 2, and in case of PSGN, because it is a IgG mediated antigen-antibody complex which is from, so that's why here there is a type 3 hypersensitivity reaction play a role. So what type of samples we have to collect to diagnose the case of the streptococcal infection? Suppose the patient having a pharyngitis infection, so obviously we have to take a throat swab. Any skin or soft tissue infection is there, pus forming suppurative condition is there, so we have to take a pus swab or exudate which is coming out from the lesions. And sometimes the patient having a bacteremia or septicemia, so we have to take a blood samples. So whenever the lab which is far away from the hospital setup, so we have to always transport the sample into the appropriate transport media. So here we can use the Pike's transport media. Now after receiving the sample into the lab, we have to first prepare a slide from the swab or any exudates. So we have to do for the microscopy, we have to do the gram stain and see under the microscope. So you can see the gram-positive cocci as I mentioned in this picture. They are the long chain appearance and they are in a single chain they are found. They are the aerobes and fastidious bacteria, and they can easily grow in the presence of oxygen. And on the different types of media which is used for the streptococci, but if we want to see the different type of hemolytic property of the streptococci, So here we are using the blood agar because streptococcal pyogen which gives a beta hemolytic pinpoint colony on the blood agar. The streptococci may be classified according to their hemolytic property like alpha hemolysis, beta hemolysis and gamma hemolysis. Alpha hemolysis means there is an incomplete hemolysis on the blood agar. Beta hemolysis which shows the complete hemolysis surrounding the colony. So in the case of streptococcal pyogen, they produce a beta hemolysis on the blood agar. On the liquid medium, they produce a granular turbidity. So here there is a not uniform turbidity like another staphylococcal infection, a staphylococci colony. The selective medium which is used for the streptococci is crystal violet blood agar or PNF medium. P for polymyxin, neomycin and fusidic medium. After getting the colony, you go for the catalase test. As I said earlier, the catalase test which is positive in case of the staphylococci, but it is a negative in case of the streptococci. The bacitracin, which is a very much important test for this streptococci pyogen, as the bacitracin which is a sensitive in case of streptococcal pyogen, and this bacitracin test which differentiate the streptococcal pyogen from the other streptococci family. So here there is a, as I said earlier, that there is a two classification is there, Lancefield grouping and Griffith typing. This Lancefield grouping which is based on the C antigen, the C carbohydrate antigen layer which is the middle layer of the cell wall of the streptococci and which is used for the classification, and it is known as a Lancefield acid extraction by method. Then another method which is used for this Lancefield grouping is Fuller's method, Rand's and Randall's method, Maxted method. These all are the method which is used for this extraction of the C carbohydrate antigen from the middle layer of the cell wall. Another classification is Griffith classification which is based on the M protein. The M protein, the protein layer which is the outermost layer of the streptococci. Then another classification is EMM typing which is based on the gene coding for the M protein. And more than 200 serotypes is found in case of EMM typing. Now in the laboratory diagnosis, we have to go for the ASO test. If there is an anti-streptolysin titer more than 200 TOD units per ml in most of the streptococcal infection. So it is always found in all streptococcal infection except there is a acute glomerulonephritis or pyodermal infection. Because in those cases, the anti-DNS B antibody which is raised and it may be more than 300 to 350 units per ml. So this both tests help for the differentiating for the pharyngeal infection or pyodermal infection, and the both test which is detected by the latex agglutination test. Now treatment of this streptococcal infection, like different types of lesions which is produced by the streptococci. So we have to give according to that treatment for this infection. Like in pharyngitis, benzalthine penicillins for at least for 10 days. Then skin and soft tissue infection, procaine penicillin. Necrotizing fasciitis, we have to go for the surgical debridement, and along with this penicillin G and clindamycin. In case of rheumatic fever, long-term maintenance therapy which includes the penicillin G every monthly, and for 5 years until the age of 21 years of age. It is in case of without any cardiac lesions. Suppose in case of carditis is there, this penicillin G monthly therapy which is prolonged for 10 years. And it is, if there is any residual heart disease, it is prolonged for up to 40 years of age or maybe lifelong. Now another group of the streptococci family which includes the other beta hemolytic streptococci. One is Streptococci agalactae which is also known as group B streptococci. As Streptococcus pyogen is group A streptococcus, Streptococcus agalactae which is group B streptococcus, which carries in a vagina and rectum in 30% of the women. It is basically major cause for the neonatal sepsis and meningitis. As when there is a patient is in a labor and the baby is passed through this infected canal, so they may acquire this type of neonatal meningitis infection due to this Streptococcus agalacti. And cellulitis, soft tissue infection, urinary tract infection, pneumonia, endocarditis, it is found in diabetic and the cancer patient. This is the laboratory diagnosis of the Streptococcus agalacti. One of the important tests which is known as a CAMP test. This CAMP test is a factor which is discovered after the name of the Christie, Atkins, Munch and Peterson. This in how we do this test is, one is we have to take a blood agar plates and we have to streak a Staphylococcus aureus, take a single colony of the Staphylococcus aureus and it is a streak in the middle of the, perpendicular in the middle of the plate. And then what we have to do, we have to take a this streptococcal pyogen colony and one side streptococcal agalacti colony, and we have to streak this agalacti, our colony, in a loop and take into the loop, and it is a streak on the perpendicular to the Staph aureus streak line. So, but remember here we don't have to touch the streak line of the Staph aureus. And what will happen on the next day, you will see the arrowhead type of projection, arrowhead type of hemolysis in case of the streptococcal agalacti, but it is not found in case of streptococcal pyogen. Here we are using the streptococcal pyogen as a control. The middle one is a test portion, the colony which we want to test. And here there is another positive control for Streptococcus agalacti. So here there is a arrowhead type of hemolysis which is found. Other tests which differentiate the Streptococcal agalacti is from the Streptococcal pyogen, hippurate hydrolysis, then bacitracin resistant, as in contrast to Streptococcal pyogen which gives a bacitracin sensitive. PYR test which is a negative in case of this Streptococcal agalacti. Orange pigment which is produced in a Islam's medium, which is a selective medium for the agalacti. Mucoid beta hemolytic colony which is produced. The treatment which includes the penicillin or higher penicillin, and the screening at the 35 to 37 weeks of the pregnancy, which is must for the high risk group of the people, and so see for the any Streptococcal agalacti infection is present or not in a pregnant mother. And we have to give ampicillin and penicillin as a carrier to the carrier mother. Now another group is group C streptococci, which is a common in animal and human infections are very rare. So some species of this group C streptococci is Streptococcus equi, Streptococcus equisimilis, dysgalacti, zooepidemicus, and equisimilis which produce pharyngitis, especially epidemic foodborne pharyngitis after ingestion of contaminated milk. The important things of this group is Streptococcus equisimilis because it is a major source of the streptokinase. The streptokinase which is used in a medicinal purpose, like in a myocardial infarction, there is any thrombus condition, it is used as a thrombolytic agents. Group F streptococci, which is a minus streptococci, which grows poorly on the blood agar, and it occasionally causes suppurative infection. So antibody to this Streptococcus mg for diagnosis of primary atypical pneumonia, it is used caused by the Mycoplasma pneumoniae. So this Streptococcus mg, this streptococci which is used for the another serological test to diagnosing the Mycoplasma pneumoniae infection. Other beta hemolytic streptococci which includes group G, group D. The group D streptococci which is important. The common group D lipoteichoic acid antigen which is important. The group D streptococci comprises of enterococci and non-enterococci. So in this non-enterococci family which includes the Streptococcus bovis and Streptococcus equinus. This enterococcal group B enterococcal family, which is very much important nowadays because it is the most common agent in a hospital acquired infection. Initially it is under the group D Streptococcus. Now it is reclassified as a separate genus Enterococcus. It is a normal flora of the human intestines and biliary tract, and to the lesser extent vagina and male urethra. Increasingly becoming important nowadays, this enterococci, because it's producing the disease, and it is nowadays the major problem is it produces a resistant to the most of the antibiotics. The common species which includes the Enterococcus faecalis and the Fishium. The virulence factor in case of this enterococci is cytolysine and hemolysin, as similar to Streptococci pyogen. Then aggregation substance or pheromones, the clumping of these adjacent cells to facilitate the plasmid exchange. So transferring the drug resistant by this mechanism by the plasmid. The extracellular surface protein, which is help this enterococci for adhesion to the bladder mucosa, and that's why it is the most common urinary tract infection producing organism. Common group D lipoproteinic acid antigen, the cytokine release such as tumor necrosis factor alpha. Then coccolysine inactivates the endothelin. It is a vasoactive peptides. The clinical manifestation: urinary tract infection, cystitis, urethritis, pyelonephritis, then bacteremia and mitral valve endocarditis in case of a IV drug abuser. Then intra-abdominal, pelvic and soft tissue infection, late onset neonatal sepsis and meningitis, and infection on the burn surface. So this is also the gram-positive cocci, but it is different from the streptococci, like they are arranged in a pair mostly, and they are arranged like in a angle to each other, so it is a shape like a spectacles. So spectacle shape appearance which is found in the gram stain. And on the blood agar they produce a no hemolysis, means it is a third type of hemolytic property, that is a gamma hemolysis. There is a no hemolysis on the blood agar, and it is grow on the McConkey agar in a tiny magenta color colonies. On the nutrient agar they grow very poorly. And bile esculin hydrolysis test, which is a very much important test for the diagnosis of this enterococci, because it is only the species which produce this bile esculin positive. Then pyrrolidonyl beta naphthalimide test, which is also positive in case of enterococci, can grow in the presence of extreme conditions. So this is the characteristics for the enterococci, because the enterococci are able to grow at 45 degrees Celsius. Then they are stay for longer time at 6.5% of the NaCl and 40% of bile. Heat tolerance test, they can survive at 60 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. So they are the very resistant bacteria. The enterococci versus this group D streptococci, this is a differentiating point, because why we are differentiating this group D streptococci from the enterococci? Because they both are producing no hemolysis, and we have to differentiate by different properties, like group specific D antigen which is present in case of both, bile esculin test which is positive in case of both, but in presence of 6.5% NaCl, pH 9.6 and 45 degrees Celsius growth which is absent in case of group D streptococci, other non-enterococci. Then PYR test which is positive in case of enterococci and group D streptococci. Drug resistant, which is the most common in enterococci, like in enterococci Fishium species. They are predominantly found in a normal GIT gut flora, enterococci, and pathogenicity which is marked in case of enterococci as compared to non-enterococci family. Now antibiotic resistance. Mostly all the streptococci are very much sensitive to all the penicillin cell wall acting agent, but nowadays a resistant which is found in case of the enterococci group D streptococci, resistant to penicillin, cephalosporin, sulfonamide, aminoglycoside and cotrimoxazole. resistant to penicillin and aminoglycoside can be overcome by if we give this therapy in a combination. So it is known as a synergistic property of the drugs. So this is the terminology which is used for the enterococci in the case of resistant strain VRE, that is vancomycin resistant enterococci, because here there is a VAN-A gene which is responsible for this antigen to this vancomycin. So what will happen, which is the mechanism which is responsible for this resistant? Here there is a VAN-A gene which altered the target cell. So here VAN-A and VAN-B more prevalent globally, and they altered the target cell wall. So antibiotics, vancomycin antibiotics are not able to act on this cell wall because there is an alteration of the target sites. This is the viridans group of the, so in case of this VRE resistant enterococci, vancomycin as well as teicoplanin, both the drugs give the resistant family, resistant to both these drugs. So in that case, we have to give the linazolids or other sulfonamide drugs. Viridans group of the streptococci, they are the commensals of the mouth and upper respiratory tract, and usually they are the non-pathogenic. So because they are found in our mouth commensal flora, members of this family is Streptococcus mutans, Streptococcus intermedius, Angiosus, Salivarius, Sanguis, and the Milleri. This Streptococcus viridans, which is mainly responsible for the dental caries, dental tooth problem. The Streptococcus mutans, which is a dietary, which use this dietary sucrose, and it is converted into the acid and dextran. Then this acid which is formed from this sucrose, they damage the dentine, and dextran which bind together food debris, mucus and epithelial cells, and along with the bacteria they produce the dental plaques. So how this dental plaques which is formed by this Streptococcus mutans, and this mutant strain which is responsible for subacute bacterial endocarditis. So our oral viridans streptococci, which is the most common cause which co-producing transit bacteremia while chewing, toothbrushing, dental procedure, and which will lead to the endocarditis. These are the picture which showing the gram stain of this streptococcus mutans. They producing a long chain of the cocci, and they producing the alpha hemolysis on the blood agar, which is very similar to alpha hemolytic streptococci like streptococci pneumoniae. So this is the differentiating point between the viridans group of the streptococci and pneumococcus, because both pneumococcus and streptococcus, they produce a alpha hemolysis. Okay, so this streptococci, which morphologically streptococci pneumoniae, which having a very typical type of the morphology, like they are the lanceolate in shape, they are the flame shape, and in viridans streptococci, they are the round or oval in shape. In streptococci pneumoniae, they always arrange in a pairs, and in case of the viridans group, they always arrange in a long chains. So in a streptococci pneumoniae, they are surrounded by the capsules, and in case of viridans, the capsule is absent. The colony which is found on the blood agar in case of streptococci pneumoniae is Draftman or carom coin type of colonies, and in case of viridans, there is a convex shaped colony, dome shaped colony which is formed. In the liquid medium, the pneumococci which produce a uniform turbidity. In contrast, viridans producing a granular turbidity. Then bile solubility, inulin fermentation, optogen sensitivity, and mice pathogenicity, which having a positive finding in case of streptococci pneumoniae. This last 4 tests, which is a very specific only for the streptococci pneumoniae. Okay, but in case of viridans group of the streptococci, they having a negative. So now onwards we will take this streptococci pneumoniae after subsequent lectures. Here we have completing the all the groups of the streptococci A, B, C, D, okay, and majority of streptococci pyogenes. And in the next lecture, we will see for the streptococci pneumoniae infection, which is a very short bacteria. Thank you.